Every journey begins with a single step. Today, it is not just a road we travel, but a bridge between worlds. From the noise of the city to the quiet hopes of children who dream of belonging.
I'm super excited about today. I can't imagine the days finally here. You know, the kids, I can just remember how excited they were. You know, I know this day is going to be memorable, especially because of the permanent paintings on the wall, and also, you know, the tank. Imagine. It's going to serve them for so many years to come.
At the heart of Nyeri County, there is a home where laughter often hides behind longing, where every smile carries a story untold. Here, childhood has not always been simple, yet hope still flickers, waiting for a spark.
A very beautiful event at Bongoma Children and Youth Empowerment Center, a home that we'll be visiting in partnership with FundedNext that has found its way all the way to Nyeri County in Kenya. We have planned very many activities with the kids.
We'll have lots of fun, laughter, some dancing.
We are so excited.
As the team arrives, the air shifts with quiet anticipation. A meeting of worlds, one bringing hope, the other carrying dreams, waiting to be seen.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. I want to become a great artist.
Every child carries a dream, fragile, powerful, waiting to be nurtured. Sometimes all it takes is for someone to believe in them and say, "We see you. You matter." This day, called Leap of Hearts, is not about grand gestures. It is about presence, about giving joy the chance to take root, about reminding children that the world can be kind and that second chances are real. Colors speak where words cannot. On these walls, a story comes alive, not of sorrow, but of resilience. Not of what was lost, but of what can grow. In every burst of laughter, in every shared smile, there is healing. There is proof that even the smallest acts of love ripple outward, leaving imprints on young hearts forever.
We have come to the end of one of the most amazing days. We have not just shared gifts, we have not just shared food or shared moments, we have shared our hearts.
The event has been good. We really appreciate for everything has done by the FundedNext. We really appreciative, we're much appreciative for the mural that have done to us.
For FundedNext, changing lives is more than a promise. It is a responsibility. Surrounded by 100 bright eyes, that promise feels alive, beating in every hug, every cheer, every tear wiped away. This is what it means to take a leap of hearts, to believe that joy can be given, that dignity can be restored, that future can be reshaped. Because when hearts leap together, no child stands alone.
Okay, what's up, guys?
Yo.
Morning, afternoon. How are we doing? Guys, in the chat, just give me like a mic check and video check. Everything is good. Like, just spam a 1 in the chat. Everything's good to go. Okay, looks like we're good to go.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, well, I see you guys already have a few questions. I'll get to the questions in a bit. I'm just going to do a quick market overview with Tom here. We'll see also what equity open does for NASDAQ. We also have 10 a.m. news. Okay, so on FX, at least, I'm not expecting too much until then. So we're going to have a look at that, and then I'll answer any questions you guys have. You can throw at me and Tom, and we'll be there to answer them, okay? So, Tom, you want to start off with the DXY, and I'll tap in with it as well?
Yeah, so basically, if we look at DXY, we have market maker sell modeling going on right now. We've expanded a lot already this week, right? This weekly candle is pretty large to the downside. For me, not really interested in trading at the end of the week right now. However, we'll have to see how today closes and behaves, because there is a daily fair value gap above us on DXY, right? And I would love if we can get there next week for a continuation lower. We have 10 a.m. news, obviously, so it's been in a consolidation pretty much the entire day. Yeah, we'll see what it does. Equal highs, equal lows on both sides. So not conditions I want to trade in. So that's basically for me, that's for DXY and majors, obviously. Also consolidation right now, right? It's just bouncing up and down from midnight opening price. GU is relatively a little bit stronger because Euro GBP is bearish, right? On the daily as well. Looks like the draw is lower, so pound is stronger than the euro at the moment. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and we can see that here with the SMT we had today, all right, between this low. Okay, so you got that strength on pound. Easy to see that because Euro GBP is obviously dying, right? So Euro is weaker than the pound. So if you're going long on the foreigners, right, GBP USD is better, right? Because GU is the stronger asset. So yeah, okay. So market maker sell model on DXY, we've traded up into this 4 hour. I'd expect it to expand for New York though. And we have a sell side below here. Okay, so we've taken out a range high here. Okay, we've hit this here and then we failed to go above here, which makes me think we're gonna drop below the sell side now. Okay, so that should be the immediate next draw on liquidity on dollar. Okay, the thing that is annoying me, right, if you guys have watched my video to the secret of Forex, right, is the bonds here. Right, bonds is not really in sync with dollar right now, and it being December, you know, kind of leaves me done with Forex for now. My focus has just been on NASDAQ. But I think we could have one last week, being next week, where it's pretty clean. Okay. So I would lean towards next week being the last week of trading for most of you guys, right? It's the last week for me. And then I'll go on holiday from then, right? The market usually goes into chop, right? It's not the whole of December. I know a lot of people say it's the whole of December. That's just not true, right? But once we get to the second week, then we really should just, ease back on putting risk on the table, right? So end of next week, then I think you guys should tap out as well. Okay, that's Forex. Let me quickly cover NQ here. So NQ, the draw on liquidity for me is this FVG here in the relative equal highs. But if you look at the daily candle, we started off pretty clean with the order flow. Okay, so we had the daily FVG here, traded down into that, okay, on Monday, and then expanded, right? Perfect, just classic PA here. Then we had the close above this down close candle and the close above this inverting it, right? This bearish FVG. This was another classic, right? Just straight into the down close candle. Then we saw bullish expansion to previous day's high. Right now that we've got into Thursday, we're starting to see candle closures here not supporting higher prices. So what I do think we're going to see is a run below sell side, right, before the relative equal highs here. Okay, so let's drop to a lower time frame. We'll go top down here. We have these relative equal lows. Okay, now I would only long this market if we went below the sell side here. Okay, so at minimum, right, I would long it here because I don't want to long it up here with this trend line and the relative equal lows, right? If it just pumps from here, it pumps from here, miss the move, doesn't matter, move on to the next move. But if we can get below here, that would set the stage for longs for me, right? If we get some kind of displacement away. So what that would look like is trade down into here, form a range, FVG, right? Institutional sponsorship, some kind of SMT somewhere, either here, doesn't really matter. As long as we have that SMT, it could be SMT with this low as well, this low, that doesn't matter. And then some kind of displacement with an FVG. Okay, if we get that, then I see this being a really clean trade at least till here, right? Around 25,900. Okay, so that's what I'm watching on NQ. Yeah, so 20 minutes to market open. I want to watch that, see what it does.
Oh yeah, can I touch on EU a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the way it's behaving right now on Euro USD is that we're kind of stuck between two PD arrays. We're respecting sort of still a bearish OB because that run up from yesterday that hit a key level in premium and it closed below, right? So the only issue I'm having with this going straight up from here for me is low probability, as we have not hit discount of the range, the last range on the 4 hour yet, right? That's why probably with news you're gonna see EU drop into a discount. And if we're higher time frame bullish, we can either go higher from there, or we're going to see a retracement back into where it is right now, and we're going to continue next week, right? That's why I'm not too confident that EU will go higher with the news, and that's all based on that it's still accumulating in premium, right? So that's
shorts until here, yeah, at minimum.
Yeah, that's the last range, and it's going to be difficult to look for a buy where it is right now.
Okay, so that's, and you run the 4 hour high into this, right? So just keep an eye on this then.
Yeah.
15-minute chart is your friend.
And also, I think the safest bet is actually not taking anything on EU today. I know everybody likes to trade every single day, but the best thing to do is wait for this weekly candle to close and see where it actually closes. Because if, let's say, the 4 hour today closes all the way below that last bullish range, we might see a shift in order flow short term, and the daily candle can go a lot lower, right? So that's going to be key to wait, and patience is very important. I have not taken a trade the entire week, by the way, for those who are wondering. But some weeks you don't get any trade. I have had to draw three out of 4 times. I had to draw right. I mean, the one I was wrong, it was like 50-50, but like it was a high strike rate on the draw, but no entries were possible for my model. For example, Monday run up on EU, called that one, didn't manage to get in. The drop on Tuesday, I think, or there was a drop on Tuesday, didn't close favorably, so no engagement. Wednesday I woke up with the market in the air, right? So no entry there as well. Yesterday I wanted to short, but no closure. So yeah, sometimes the week is like that.
Yeah, so I think you had this called, right? This 4 hour FEG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that in the group. So yeah, Tom had this outline, but he missed this.
Yeah, and the upper one didn't fill, the one above it, so we couldn't look for shorts there. That's what I actually wanted to see on Tuesday, right? If we actually violated that one fair value gap above it, yeah, above that one. No, to the right, the bullish one. There's one above it. Yeah, if that one failed, where the last one got respected, right, then we should have seen a shift in order flow because there was SMT on the highs as well. But that never happened, right? And then we saw that overnight pump, and then it's just gone.
Yeah, unlucky there.
Yeah.
And we'll see how next week is, because I think once that's done, I think you're done as well, right? Or you're gonna keep going past next week?
Depends on you can probably see what the volume does after next week, and if there's like a clear market cycle going on, if there's a clear expansion phase, for example, I think it should still be tradable, but I'm obviously going to be more conservative with the risk.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, same thing here in Q. There was this run up here that I called here. A little bit choppy, but it did do eventually what we wanted, which is this here. If you see this drop here on 9 a.m. before, this is even before equity open, right? So this is before equity open. This is the 9 a.m. candle. This is 9:05, right? We're on a 5-minute chart. So this is the 9:30 here, right? So we had SMT with this low, right? If you look at YM on that day, it takes that low Is it YM or is it ES? One of the two, take it. Could be ES. I remember them having SMT.
Yep.
Right, so there you go. Okay, so you can see, make sure that, there you go. So there's the SMT, right? It ran below this low just prior to equity open, right? So this is setting the stage. So when I saw this, I already knew, like, we're in bullish order flow. We've hit a bullish daily high time frame key level, and then you have this drop below this low. Just before equity open, it's kind of setting the stage for the market to open up with a bearish sentiment, and at the same time, they're engineering relative equal highs above the market. So it was kind of obvious where they wanted to take this, right? And on NQ as well, you had the relative equal highs here. So these right here, right, super equal there. Fortunately, it was really choppy here on the lower time frame to get above these highs, but eventually did get there. So that was pretty clean. Below midnight open as well, and below the session open, right? And this is the high time frame key level, right? That daily OB opening price. So
Yeah, that was clean. That was clean. Unfortunately, the chop afterwards was
yeah, that was frustrating. You've got these relative equal highs here. Okay. Engineered. There's a draw on liquidity. Okay, so I'll look at that as the draw. Okay, you can also include this high here. I don't know, they ran that one. Okay, so you can have this here mapped as the draw on liquidity. So should see the market run up there. I just don't like the candle closures, which makes me want to see this before we go long, preferably. If we can get this, because we've had a lot of drives, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 drives higher, and no significant bullish candle closure on the daily chart. So, which is one of the things I have in my checklist to take a trade, right? Is candle closure in my favor, either on the weekly or the daily, right? So that's why I prefer the sell off first. Then we get daily candle closure, right? Bullishly with the close within, and then the long should come in pretty easy. Let me just open up the chat here. 1 second, guys. I don't have it open. You got the chat here, Tom?
Oh, I can see the chat. Yeah, on the YouTube chat, I see a lot of gold spammers.
Gold spammers. Yeah. What the? What does that mean?
This is typing gold, gold, gold.
Okay, I've got it open. Jesus. Okay, what the fuck is it? Gold? All right, fine. All right, gold. Let's look at the market here. Okay, so with I would be patient here with gold, okay, because of I want to see what DXY does, right? As we go above this high, right, this is where I'd be watching DXY, right? Because if DXY wants to run out this low and then go higher, right, or pump from here, and this is why it would be ideal to wait for next week, right? We're in a monthly FVG. Okay, so we're in a monthly FVG here, so we could see the market trade up into this here, right? So if we start to expand from here, okay, I would like to see this be the next draw on liquidity, but we need to see some level of displacement on a daily chart, right? So when we're using a monthly key level, we don't just immediately drop down to a 5-minute or 15-minute chart, right? We need to see a daily key level form. So like on a daily chart, and this is why it requires some patience, if we form a daily FVG here and disrespect this here, right, then we could see this monthly FVG hold. If that does happen, I do think we'll see gold sell off then. Okay, but this is going to require patience. For now, the next draw on liquidity would be this swing high, right? And if we see the dollar run higher then from that monthly FVG, then I think we could be looking at these lows here, right? But that's going to require patience, okay? So there you go. There's gold.
A lot of patience in trading. There's a lack of understanding by a lot of people. That's why there's only like 90% of the people lose in the market, right? That's a fact. And psychology and patience is literally one of the biggest issues, because we all want to trade every day. We want to make money, right? But you have to wait for the best conditions to take a trade. It's literally that. I have this thing as well. Like, if I can predict the next daily candle with like 100%, there's nothing is 100%, obviously, but if there's no way I can have a different bias on a daily candle, that's when your high probability setup forms, right? If you can make even the slightest doubt about it might go bearish or it might go bullish when you're analyzing, it's not that high probability as you think. And I guess you could say the same for sessions, right? MMXM, if you're scalping, for example, if you don't have like a clear bias for the upcoming session and you want to target previous session high or low, then it's the same case. It's just fractal.
Yeah, 100%. Interesting here. EU. Well, that's a 4-hour B. Is that your dog running around again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear that?
Dude, that guy's loud as hell.
Yeah, I don't have like a compressor and everything on this platform, so.
Look at CAD futures. Sure. Let me do that. Yeah. Okay. So monthly. I already know this is a monthly FEG, right? Here, right? And I mentioned this. If you guys remember, there was a stream I did on YouTube a while ago. I'll drop a clip of that. I mentioned the monthly FEG here, right? You can see I already have the annotations here, buy side here. I do think, right, we could already see this start to trend a lot higher. Okay, why? Because we've traded down, right, into the monthly FEG, which is in discount. Okay, so if we look at that from this low to this high, right, we're in a discount. So it's a discount key level. We're buying in a discount, not in a premium. Then we have a monthly candle closure, right? So the candle is closed within here. Okay, so setting the stage for bullish price action. And now if we look at this monthly candle here, okay, which is the beginning of this month, okay, we are seeing expansion. Okay, so hard time frame, right? I want to see this high get taken. Okay, so a larger time frame trade here. This sets the stage, okay, for anything CAD related to have a longer term bias. So I'm giving you guys, as long as we close, okay, above this here, this down close candle this week, which would be at the end of today, right? I would look at this here. Okay, so that's a longer term bias I'm giving you guys for anything CAD related, right? USD CAD, okay, and any exotic pairs as well. Okay, so there's that. Keep that in mind. Just have these levels mapped on your chart and look for this. If we close above this, which we will close above this today. It's not going to come back down here. Okay, 3 drives as well on a daily chart. And so I'm assuming here USD CAD is absolutely melting. Yeah, there you go. Right, so you don't even really need to. I knew USD CAD would be melting just from looking at the futures, right? Which is what you have to do when you're not trading EU/GU. If you're trading EU/GU, you can just look at DXY, right? Because it makes up a lot of the pair, right? It's basically almost perfectly invertly correlated, right, to at least EU. Okay. But when you're looking at anything outside of that, you go into the territory of exotic pairs, and you have to start looking at individual future currency contracts. Like if you're trading GBP AUD, you're going to have to look at GBP futures against the Australian dollar futures, or GBP CAD, right? GBP futures against the Canadian dollar futures, compare them. So what you'd want to do is compare a weak versus strong currency. Okay, these are the only, or strong versus weak, right? Or you want to compare a weak versus consolidating. This has the same effect as weak versus strong, or strong versus consolidating. Right? Then you'll see larger price swings. But if you compare strong versus strong, right, or weak versus weak, what you're going to end up with is price action that looks like this. Right? It's just going to be a range, and you're just going to get chopped up. So when looking at exotics, you need to make sure you have this in mind, right? And you need to look at the individual future currency contracts. Right, but Tom, the CAD futures, bro. We need to work on that, bro.
I see it.
Yep, we need to work on some pairs.
My opinion on the Canadian dollar is that I think it's a migraine-inducing currency, so I try to avoid it. I have to take a lot of ibuprofen when I trade that, so that's why I stick with EU and GU. Literally, I think it's a higher time frame, more higher time frame pair. I would not trade that on a lower time frame. Let's look at I mean, you can see it as well. Like Canadian futures is pretty strong, and then Euro futures is strong as well, right? And then if you go to EuroCAD, for example, that's the clearest example you can get. What you just explained with that consolidating.
Yeah.
EuroCAD.
And GBP CAD should be dying then, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah. Because you've got GBP dropping, and then Canadian future dollar going higher, right? Which, again, going back to that exotics, right? And we'll look at it. I know you guys, the equity opens in a minute. We'll be there. You've got a weak currency. Sorry, no, EuroCAD is better. Sorry, Euro GBP is dying. Right.
I'm Canadian. I would touch this. Somebody said.
Yeah, right. There you go. Okay, this was in consolidation because they were both moving in the same direction. But now that you've got euro being weaker, how do we know that? Because if we look at euro against the pound, we can see it's selling off. So what does that mean? Euro is weak, okay? And then we looked at Canadian dollar. So CAD was going higher from the monthly bullish FVG. CAD is strong, right? So the pair, right, is euro against CAD. So it goes bearish, right? If the pair was CAD against euro, so if it was CAD euro instead of euro CAD, you would see it as bullish, right? So you're going to make sure which one's in, which one comes first, right? Now, I know that's for advanced students, this is really basic stuff, but we've got students who may not understand this in here. Okay, so euro CAD selling off aggressively, right? Huge candles here.
Yep.
And it should continue as long as Euro GBP remains bearish, because CAD future should go higher. Okay, so we have equity open. Let's see what's happening here. There's shitloads. I mean, perfect timing for this to freeze.
Yeah.
Just as equity open. God, come on. What's going on?
Come on.
Okay. There you go. All right, so it's trading up into the relative equal highs I mentioned. Right, and it's okay. It's liquidated then.
Yeah, market makers are freezing your PC right now. Gave too accurate analysis, right?
All right, this would have been so much better if we traded below this low.
Yeah.
The trade you reviewed on EU sequence, I took the trade on New York session but got stopped out. What do you mean? You reviewed? Oh, right. Okay, I get what you mean. You were talking, and there you go. There's euro selling off, by the way, from the 4-hour OB. So the trade I reviewed, okay. So you're talking about this, right? Okay, so if we're looking at this here, right? Like I mentioned, okay, um, we're looking for this here to attack previous daily low. Okay, that's the key point here, and the part where this model is really forgiving is when you're attacking previous day low. Like I said in the video, okay, even if your bias is wrong overall for the day, which if you're bearish here and you're calling a daily bias short, technically it was wrong, right? So the this is forgiving because even if it's to go bullish, it's likely to do that below the previous day's low, right? So when I was teaching the sequence, right, I want you guys to enter before that candle's taken for this specific reason right here. You don't have to be great at the overall daily bias because you'll at least get this here, okay, to the previous daily low. So if you're struggling with that, just focus on this right now. If it's taken, let it go, right? Will you have less trades? Yes, 100%. I can guarantee that. Will you have a higher strike rate? Yes, you will. Okay, so that's the adjustment I would make.
What up, Supremacy in the chat as well? Welcome to the stream. Are we going to see that drop into discount on EU? I think so.
Yeah, where is discount, by the way? Let me go back. Removed it. I don't like too much on my charts. It irritates me.
Yeah, that gap below it.
Should be right around there. I think it's right above.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically the gap, but we'll leave this on for now. Okay, there you go. Okay, I'll leave it on a 5-minute here to watch. Super clean, to be honest. Great call there, Tom.
I'm in this EU short right now. Christian Diaz. Good luck, sir. I am not. I'm sitting out Friday.
XAU has been analyzed. You guys can watch it after this stream. I'm not gonna do that multiple times.
Yeah, we got news in 25 minutes as well.
Yeah, we do. 10 a.m., right? Which one is it?
We have the consumer sentiment and the PCE price index.
At the same time, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I thought I saw yesterday or the day before that PCE was actually at 8:30. Did I move it or am I remembering incorrectly? Let me check the.
We
have a
initially
screenshot of the start of the week.
Have a look at that.
No, I just remembered incorrectly. It seems.
No, it was just there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the one guy that is in EU shorts today, I don't think it's high probability conditions to be trading here. 4 hour is very lackluster, right? And there are way higher trade conditions to be had if you wait and not trade in this type of price action. Basically, the only opportunity in Euro USD is, in my opinion, is a retracement play, and that's about it. And that's not typically what I like to trade. I like to trade the expansion, the distribution phase of a weekly candle or a daily candle, right? But since it already distributed pretty far this week, that's not something I can do. And the retracement, I would have preferred if it happened yesterday. So yeah, for me, it's just waiting for next week. That's the beauty of trading. Nobody's forcing you to take a trade, right? The only one who can take a trade is you. And everybody has that little voice in its head, right? And you don't want to miss the trade. You have to ignore this voice, guys. This is the voice that kills your account. What is on the calendar for next week, by the way? Let's see.
Yeah.
Federal funds rates cut. Okay.
Okay. $1.
Yeah, Wednesday next week.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna cut it with 0.25%.
How do you know that?
And that's the forecast, but most likely they will cut it. If Powell doesn't cut it, I'm pretty sure Trump will throw him off a building. He was very adamant on that Powell should cut the rates. But a president cannot interfere with monetary policy, but it seems he can.
Yeah, so we got 10 a.m. Tuesday. Nothing on Monday. So 10 a.m. Tuesday. We've got 8:30 a.m. Wednesday. Irrelevant since we have federal funds rate and FOMC, right? So that's a 3 p.m. idea for the Nasdaq traders. For Forex, I'll just leave it alone. Unless unless you unless structure forms in a way that you have a good idea of the federal funds rate and you position yourself on Tuesday and the market is far away enough at federal funds rate that you're not going to get slipped, right? That's the only way to position yourself there. Obviously, that's only for advanced traders. Anyone new is probably going to get, liquidated and slipped. So your whole account is gone. Your prop firm challenge, your live is probably gone. Thursday, 8:30, and then Friday, there's no USD news, but there's 2 a.m. GBP. So it's basically, I actually like this a lot. The Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This looks nice. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Forex is a skip on next Wednesday. I don't trade FOMC releases, but like you said, Nasdaq post FOMC could be something.
3 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically 3 p.m. So not just as soon as FOMC passes, wait for the 3 p.m. candle. Yeah, that would be interesting. Nasdaq, previous day high, taken. The fact that they're not taking this to run higher, okay, and they keep doing this, okay, makes me think that when price gets here, okay, and I'm going to take this off for now. So you're going to have this on your chart annotated. When price gets here, okay, into this daily FVG, if we see displacement away from this FVG on a 1-hour chart, okay, then I would look to target the relative equal lows. Okay, so I think they're leaving this here for the daily FVG. So what I'm looking at here, okay, is if they continue expanding it here, okay, is that right there, okay, is what I'd like to see. These relative equal lows be used by this daily FVG. Right, and then when it takes this low, okay, so let's say this plays out as I've outlined here, okay, when it takes this low, that's when you pause and wait, because we could continue higher from here, okay? Or if it continues to displace lower, depending on the confirmation you get below this low, could continue lower. Right, so that's my overall expectations going forward. Unless they just chop it for December, then there's nothing we can do about that. Right, so levels you want to have mapped: relative equal lows, okay, and the daily FVG. Keep your charts clean, just keep those two levels mapped, and the opening prices, right? YM more bullish right now. Always cooking.
Yeah, gotta switch to YM.
Telling you, man, recently.
Yeah.
It's been giving that vibe. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Opening up the chats. Give me a second. Which opening price do you use? True day open or 17? True day. So midnight, New York time. Right, there's nothing technically wrong with using 17, right? However, you're more likely to see the run above for your actual entry with midnight. It's going to be easier because you want to see trade above that in the sessions you're trading.
What are the time do you trade before news?
What was it? What?
And the phrase is a little bit incorrect, but I think he means when do you trade?
When do I
What?
position myself before the news?
Yeah, it depends on the news as well.
Are you looking for sells? No, like I said, I'm looking for sells after we reach here. Yeah. When do I trade before news? Okay, so I'm gonna. This can be applicable to any chart, yeah, but I'm gonna explain it in the context of the Nasdaq, okay? Or you can use this for any news, okay? So the first thing you want to, okay, so you've got the news, right? Let's say this is when the news hits. Okay, so there's a few things you want to see before the news hits. Number one, you want to see a valid market profile. Yes, I'll explain what this means with the diagram. You want to have a valid market profile at the time when news is going to hit. A valid market profile to expand, right? And I'll explain the differences between what you don't want to see and what you want to see if you want to position yourself before news. Okay, then you want to see a stop run. Before the news, you want to be traded into a key level. And then you want to see SMT and some kind of displacement and or CSD. Okay, so with the valid market profile, okay, let's say this dashed line here is the news. If you guys don't understand market profiling, there's a video on my channel, right, where you can watch that, or even Tom's channel, right? So if you're in consolidation and the news hits, right, it's unlikely that the market, let's say we're bearish, right? It's unlikely that it's going to reverse from a consolidation. Okay, so that's the first thing, right? So if you have the market expand higher, right, and then it trades into, let's say you've got a key level here, some FVG, let's say daily or 4-hour, weekly. Okay, and then you have a valid market profile. So example of a valid market profile is AMD. Accumulation, manipulation goes into key level, and then distribution. So let me just move this here so it makes more sense. Okay, so let's say the news is here, right? You're already in a valid market profile for the market to trade lower, right? We've hit a key level. There's, let's say there's SMT here, okay? And then you have displacement away and there's an FVG here. So if you have these 5, right, checked off before the news, then it's high probability to short before the news, okay? So that's what you want to see prior to the news.
Is SMT a must for you, or do you take a setup without it checks all the other boxes?
SMT is a must, yeah, definitely. There must be SMT present.
Yeah, I agree. SMT is the single most powerful tool in determining a protected strong high or low. If you use ICT concepts and you're not using SMT, I don't know. You're doing yourself a disservice. Wait, was that a Bitcoin chart? It looks exactly like the XY daily chart.
Does it?
Yeah, look at the weekly and then the daily on daily on DXY.
Kind
Like
of, yeah, a little
kind
bit.
of. I'm kind of hoping they keep DXY sideways today, and then next week we can have an open high, low, close candle. So we have that daily FEG to work with.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. That'd be ideal, actually. We'd want to see that.
I think news will just do a liquidity run, maybe on both sides even, and that's it. Like it's not gonna do another like 50 pip, 60 pip run above those highs. I mean, it can, but not expecting that for today. How do you predict the next candle?
Okay. Right. So predicting the next candle. Right. So you need to blend some higher time frame concepts here. Right. So first, you want to have premium and discount in mind. Okay. That's the first thing. Then you want to have internal understanding of internal and external range liquidity. Right. The relationship between the two. You want to have a high time frame key level. Okay, and then you want to have candle closures, right? If you just keep it simple like this, okay, and you're patient enough to wait for this, okay, you're gonna see a lot of success with predicting the very next candle. Okay, I'm not talking about 2-3 candles into the future. Okay, I'm talking about literally the very next candle. This is what you do to predict that very next candle. Okay, so for example here, we'll go to the daily chart here. Here's actually a good example here. All right, you've got this high being taken here, okay, and then the market trading away, and then you've got premium and discount from this high to this low. Okay, this is obviously in a premium, as you can see there. So you've got premium and discount. Okay, you've got the understanding of an internal range liquidity. Okay, so trades back up into a higher time frame key level, right? In premium, it's only a key level if it's in premium and you're bearish. And then you got the candle closure here. So once you get that candle closure here, okay, when you're looking at external range liquidity, you're trying to predict this very next candle to be bearish. Okay, then when this next candle sells off, okay, you've caught something within this, right, on a lower time frame. If it doesn't close, okay, below this low, wait for the high to get taken again. Then it gets taken here, right? Does it close within? Yes. So then you look for shorts again until you get to the external range liquidity. Just going, the easiest things to do with daily buys and the biggest misconception people have is trying to constantly predict like large price swings. Don't do that, okay? Focus on trying to predict literally just the very next candle. If you do that, you'll see a lot more success with your trading and with your bias, going day by day. Okay, not just having an overall trend in mind. Okay, you have a trend in mind, but just not sticking with it constantly and going by day will make a big difference. Okay, but keep it simple with those four, and you'll see a big difference. But you got to be disciplined with it, right? Is there more sequences than these two you showed us? Yes. For scalping, use the Blitz model. Okay. And if you don't know what that is, just click my channel. It's there, the YouTube video. Just watch that. That's as good as a scalping model as you'll get. And if you blend it, okay, here's a tip with the Blitz model. If you really want to increase the probabilities of that, use it when you have a daily bias, right? So scalp it in the direction of the daily candles predicted direction. Now you don't have to do that, right? But if you can do what I just explained to predict the very next daily candle, and then you use the Blitz model in the direction of that, you'll see huge differences in your strike rate with it. How can you practice patience with setups, right? There's only one way to do this, okay? And if anyone tells you another way, they're full of shit, which is experience. That's literally the only way. And I think, Tom, you'd very much agree with that, right?
Yeah, and some people don't realize this as well. You think when they're trading, they think they know what they're doing, but you need to have that model you actually crafted and back tested and forward tested on demo and have collected all the data on. And if you do all that in that process, that's the right process to do it. You will trust your system, and there is no need to enter early or have patience with your setup, because you know what you're waiting for. You know it's proven with your back tested data, your forward tested data, and this is how you beat the psychology problem, right? The problem of FOMO, the problem of trusting it and everything. That's the data you literally have to collect. There's no shortcut, and that's the experience MMXM says as well. That's the experience you need to gain, and the data you need to collect. There's no shortcut. And a lot of people are trading without a model, without them even realizing it, because one day they're trading on the 15 minutes because their model appears on the 50 minute, and the other day they're trading on the 1 hour, and then on the 5 minute, and then on the 1 minute, because the pattern looks the same. But that's not a model. That's subjective trading. You need to have an objective checklist, and that's where you execute on. Now, if you are a more experienced trader, you can have multiple models and you can be more discretionary, right? But if you're a beginner, you need to stick with one model, tick off all the boxes, and execute that, because that's the way you collect the data and that's how you gain confidence.
Yeah, very well said.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have news. Okay, 10 a.m. In 3 minutes, we're gonna watch that on FX and Nasdaq, right? And I know I've been watching the futures chart here. There is NAS 100, right? If you trade CFDs, um, um, there's NAS 100, right? So
Yeah. Still, I wouldn't advise scalping on CFDs. On
no, I think
futures is way better.
I think it's okay as long as the firm you're using um doesn't limit the lot sizing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the
thing.
issue most of the
Because,
time.
for example, right, my problem with FTMO, my problem with FTMO was when you try to trade NAS on it, right, and you're on a 1 minute chart, right, and you're scalping, let's say 9:30 a.m., you end up using like 300 lots, okay, when you use a stop loss, and that 300 lots on, like, let's say you have a bigger account, is not more than 1% risk, right? So they emailed me saying you're using too many lots. This is considered gambling, even though it wasn't more than 1% risk. So that's the problem with some of these firms. Yeah, but the good
Yep.
thing with FundedNext is they're really good with the payouts and everything.
Yep.
So yeah. Now
Yeah.
I know it's hit the daily. Sorry, Tom. I know
Go
it's
ahead.
hit the daily FVG here on NAS, guys. But I'm watching NQ. So even if you're trading NAS, I would still watch NQ. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Um. Yeah, I was saying the spread is very important when you're scalping. If there's a firm that has wide spreads on Nasdaq and you're scalping, it's better not to scalp then, because the spread will eat your entire trade. So news in less than a minute. See what they cook up.
Okay. You're still in a range.
Yep. Yeah, there's nothing much there to trade. Just have to wait what news does and see how today closes, and then game plan for Monday.
I think the only forex pair that was worth it today was USD CAD. Okay. Because of the relative strength from the Canadian dollar, right? The run above this high here. Okay. If you go to this here, you can see it's a run on a previous day's high, right? So there's that candle closure I was talking about, right? And then you have the relative strength on your side. So you're not expecting this high to get taken again, and you're at a higher time frame. And you're at a higher time frame key level with the order block here, right? So it's a stop run into a higher time frame key level. Okay, now notice here, okay, we've traded up into a monthly here. Okay, we've got the candle closure here as well, right? So bearishness here, and there's the monthly FEG. Okay, and I'm looking at this low, by the way. You've got this monthly FEG. Okay, and then the candle closure here. If you drop down to a weekly time frame, you can see the market displaces lower here, has a small closure here. So you're expecting bearishness this week, okay? And you obviously have a swing low here as a drawn liquidity, right? And then the previous weekly low. Okay, so if you move down to a daily chart, what are you looking for to trade to previous weekly lows, right? If you guys watched the video I just put up on YouTube, the sequence, to trade to previous weekly lows, you're looking for daily stop runs. So you can see here, this was the previous weekly low. This is Monday, right? So the new week, you're looking for daily stop runs. So you run above the daily high here. That's the catalyst to send it below previous weekly low. Then we still have this previous week low here, right? You're waiting for the same thing. It runs above the daily high here, right? And then you can see it sell off aggressively, right? So this was the only pair I think was worth it today. And if you use my sequence model here, it would have played out very nicely, right? And then once it runs above that daily high, like I said in that video, 15-minute and 1 hour displacement after that. So you can see here, we run above it, no displacement, we run above it here. Then you get this displacement, right? So if this is your target, this is your entry here. And for this here, 1 hour, you still have the previous week low here. This here. Right? So pretty clean here. And I think this will keep going as well with the bullish CAD futures. Okay, what happened with the news? Okay, let's go to Euro. Might see that move Tom was talking about.
Yeah, either that or it's just gonna range for the rest of the day, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
I'm pretty
think
sure they
for
should.
this, for
Yeah, they
today,
should take
this.
that. Yeah. That's why I mentioned it earlier as well. Like there, it's still in accumulating in premium, so there's such a higher, way more higher probability that it goes to discount before it goes higher again, and that's where the FOMO traders get induced, right? Because it looks like it's going bullish, but we're not in discount.
Okay, so we'll be doing another stream, guys, next Monday. Well, on Monday, we'll also be doing a free giveaway on 25K accounts, 6 of them, right, provided by FundedNext. So make sure you guys tap in on Monday, okay? You guys might get to win an account there. But yeah, if you guys want a discount on the accounts, I'm pretty sure there's a link up on the screen right now. If not, I'll get someone from the team to drop it in the chat, and then I will catch you guys on Monday. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
See you.
Në vitin 2022, ju nështrova një operacionit të nevojshëm për shëndetin tim, ngushtim të stomakut, orët e gjata të punës, ullet dhe përball një ekrani, jeta ime ndryshoi me rritjen e vetbesimit në punën që e bëj dhe kjo më bëri të krijoj komunitetin tim.
At that time, I was facing some financial predicaments, and I was really looking for something to bail me out. But I never thought that 1 year down the line, I would be constructing my house. 1 year down the line, I would be almost out of debt.
Well, I was out of my savings of close to 2 or 3 lakhs INR, and then I had to borrow a few, let's say 2 or 3 lakhs rents as well. Now I think I'll be able to make it, and that was a changing point in my career as well. And now I'm just pursuing this thing as a full time, and I've left my job too.
So it was never my dream job to take part in catering. You don't have to get into a 9 to 5 just to make a lot of money. There's other paths that you could take to make that amount of money, or even more.
Thank you.